Hello, welcome to this third unit of the second section of the book Valuing Nature to Take Better Decisions. As you know, in this section we are focusing on the concepts of natural capital and ecosystem services. So now we are starting to analyze the concept itself of ecosystem services. So this third unit, the title is Provisioning Ecosystem Services. Since this is the first time we are talking about ecosystem services, let me start by giving you a definition, very short and simple definition of what ecosystem services are. Ecosystem services are defined as all the benefits we obtain from nature. This is a definition from the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment promoted by United Nations at the beginning of this 21st century. That means that ecosystem services are the flows we get from natural capital. So the idea is very basic. Natural capital is the stock of nature that provides services, and of course at the end of the chain is the effects on people, the benefits we people receive from natural capital. So the means to provide those benefits are the ecosystem services. Mainly three categories of ecosystem services, either provisioning ecosystem services or regulation ecosystem services or cultural ecosystem services. Hence, these ecosystem services work as flows from the stock of natural capital to provide effects in the form of benefits to people. The European Environmental Agency has promoted a classification of ecosystem services called the Common International Classification of Ecosystem Services, CITES, identifying up to 90 different classes of ecosystem services in two different ways, either biotic or abiotic, and discriminating between provisioning, regulation and cultural ecosystem services. So what we are doing now is to focus on the provisioning ecosystem services, the first of those three categories. There are up to 25 classes of biotic ecosystem services. Let's focus on the main ones. So of course the most and the best known one is provisioning service from cultivated plants, which may be for nutrition, to obtain fibers and materials, or to use those cultivated plants as energy source. We could also use reared animals with the same three goals, either nutrition, or to obtain fibers and materials, or use these reared animals as a source of energy. But of course we can also obtain those services from wild plants and animals as well. From wild plants we can get mushrooms, we can get, for instance, rubber, we can get wood to obtain energy. From wild animals we of course may satisfy our nutrition needs, we can obtain fibers and materials, we can also obtain energy. All those ecosystem services are very common, very usual, we are well aware of them. Let me show you some other ecosystem services of which we are not so much aware of. For instance, genetic materials in the form of variety of corn, for instance, variety of tomato. Variety of species provides resilience. Resilience, for instance, that may help when there's a plague, or when, for instance, some adaptation is needed to some change, namely climate change, by the way. So genetic material and seed variety is another provision service from nature. Also, we have some ecosystem services coming from medicinal plants, coming from Taxus baccata, an anti-cancer drug has been obtained, Taxol, which is nowadays used in the treatment against cancer. And there are also some other treatments for some other diseases. For instance, Applidium albicans, which is it belongs to the kingdom of animals, and we can find it in the Mediterranean Sea, and it has been discovered and a pharmaceutical use by some pharmaceutical firm, maybe to use it as an anti-COVID drug. So there are many provisioning services we are not aware of, but that of course are very valuable also for humankind.